going on, everybody? I hope that you're having a good day. So, it is 9 o'clock. Today, I promised you that we were going to start talking about the exceptional leader. Would you do me a favor as you're coming in? Would you share this with your family and friends? Even if you're watching this on a replay. Even if you're watching this on a replay, please do me a favor and just share this with your friends and family, at least 5 or 6 people at the very least, because this is going to be so good. I told you last week that I was going to take a moment every day this week and share something on leadership from my leadership program that is going to be available very soon. And I just want to share a couple of things from it. I think that you're really going to like it, right? So let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any time. Hello to everybody. I'm saying hello to everybody now. And so I won't be saying it while I'm working. So let's work. Leadership. It is simultaneously both the most important thing you need whenever you're going to take on a project, and it is the most frustrating and devastating word because most people don't have it in spades or don't have good leadership around them. And so leadership is kind of like, it's the treasure word and it's the curse word. It's the treasure word because everybody needs it. Everyone needs someone in their life to take them by the hand and lead them to a better place. But most people don't have it. Most people need guidance and a mentor or somebody who can look at them in their life. But most people don't have them. Most people want somebody who they can trust to guide them in the way that they're supposed to go and not take them in a way that only benefits the mentor, but actually benefits the student as well. Every student needs a teacher. Every teacher needs a teacher. Every professor needs someone that they can go to. And so leadership is very important because leadership tells you you're not on your own. Leadership tells you that there is a structure, and organization around your project, around a thought process. So let's deal with leadership. And let me start off, if you're taking notes, let's start off by saying this. There is a difference between an assignment and a project, okay? There's a difference between an assignment and a project. That's key. Why? Because an assignment is defined as something that is done by an individual, but a project can be done by an individual or a group of people. Go ahead and look it up if you don't believe me. Go ahead and look it up. If you are going to do an assignment is something that can be done by an individual. For example, I have books that that I have to finish and I have to complete. The writing of that book is an assignment. The production of that book is a project. And what happens so many times is we have situations in our lives that we keep on pulling in a bunch of people like it's a project when it's only an assignment, and that's the reason why a lot of things don't get done. I'm trying to make sure that I don't jump into my recordings and my lessons, but let me deal with that one piece right here. There you have assignment and you have project. When you have an assignment can be dealt with by one person. Project needs to be done by one or more individuals. And then you delegate responsibilities. You then bring in the combined tasks. And the combined tasks helps you and allows for you to go ahead and complete the project. So there is a difference between assignment and project. And whenever you bring in people on an assignment that was only supposed to be done by you, you guarantee the failure of your assignment, because an assignment is supposed to be individual. A project is supposed to be corporate or plural, okay? Now, whenever you have a project is when you need leadership. Whenever you have whenever you have more than one person working on a project, someone needs to take the lead to make sure that that situation gets done. Someone needs to take the role of the leader or the role of the primary in order to get it done. If there's not someone willing to be the hitman, somebody who's willing to take the credit for the completion of the project, or the blame as to why the project was not completed, someone has to take the leadership role, the primary role on that. And so leadership is needed whenever there is a project that needs to get done. Number two, the project has to be bigger than the individual. The project has to be bigger. I'm talking life sciences now. If you're going into a situation in your life, you're going to want a project that is larger than the norm. If it's not larger than the norm, you are wasting your time. I was at the Del Mar Fair recently, and while I was at the Del Mar Fair, there were thousands of people at this fair. People were banging into each other and running into each other, walking into each other. The Del Mar Fair is probably the place where you get the most excuse me's, excuse us. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. My bad, my fault, my apology. Because everybody is running into each other. Everybody's trying to get to the next food place or the next drink place or the next museum or the next ride or the next bungee jump or the next stage of music. Everybody is trying to get into the fair and everybody is going back and forth. But let me tell you something. The Del Mar Fair was a project that was successfully completed. And it was began by a group of individuals who realized, hey, we want to create a situation, we want to create a location where as a bunch of people can come in and just celebrate and have a good time and get together and eat and drink and be merry. And whenever you have a couple of people who come in and they make a plan in their mind that they are going to get this done, is when you can have a success, because every successful project was done or completed by a bunch of individuals, a group of individuals who decided we are not going to allow pride to stop us from getting here. We're to our destination. We're not going to allow frustration and rivalries and lies and division to stop us from an ultimate goal, because every project has to have an end date. Every project has to have a goal in mind. And if the project doesn't have a goal in mind, it is not a project. It's a wish. It's a dream. I say it all the time. Every goal not written down is a hope. It's a hope. It's not you being intentional about making sure that you get a certain situation done. It's you sitting back lollygagging or hoping that something gets done by osmosis. Somebody who wants a job but never fills out an application or never goes online to a temporary job site, or they're hoping that a job falls out the sky. That is not intentional. So in order to have a project, it has to have a goal in mind with an end date. Why is the end date important? The end date is important because it pushes you along. It gives you certain situations where you're like, okay, we need to have this done by this date. We need to have this done by this date. It puts parameters in place, wherein you can judge the success or the failure of your project. Because if the project fails, then you can go back and you can look at the steps of how you failed. So that's important. back to leadership. So a project, every project, it needs a leader. It needs a leader. Why am I talking about that? Because if you're making notes, take this note. Your life is not an assignment. Your life is a project. Your life is not an assignment to be completed by you alone. Your life is a project. And in this phenomenal and exceptional life of yours, you have to realize that you cannot do it on your own. You're going to need people around you to speak truth to you. You're going to need people around you to help you get to places where you can't get to by yourself. You're going to need people around you to help you with end dates, people around you to do what you can't do, give you advice that sometimes you don't want to hear, give you wisdom that you don't know about. Every project involves an education. Every project involves an education. You have to be willing to accept the education from people who know more than you. I'm jumping 3 days ahead, but you definitely want to make sure that you are available to hear what someone else is saying to you, or you will absolutely fail. The fair is a huge, phenomenal, and successful project. But if certain people hadn't come together to make it work, then it would have never gotten done. And so I want you to be ready and prepared for your life, because your life is not an assignment. It's a project. It's a project. And not only is it a project, it is a structure by which other people can come into your life and find rest, find happiness, find joy. And so your life is bigger than you. Your life is bigger than you. And in order for your life to be exceptional, the project must be completed. In order for your life to be exceptional, the project has to be completed. The other thing about your life being a project, the difference between your life and the project. Here's the difference. The project has a goal in mind. Your life is supposed to create momentum whereby other people can come into your life and get excited and get that momentum and go and do other things with their life. Your life is not meant to sit around and never discover why you were here in the first place. You should celebrate 2 days absolutely in your life. Celebrate 2 days, I heard somebody say. You celebrate the day that you were born and the day that you realize why you were born. Those are the days that you celebrate. You celebrate the day you were born and the day that you realize why you were born. And I realized the reason why I was born, and it changed my world. Do you know why? Because like I said at the beginning, there is an assignment and there's a project. The assignment is for one individual to complete on their own, a task for an individual. A project is designed for more than one individual to come together and get a task done. When I realized that my life was a project and that I was designed to help other people get to the rest of their life, just like certain people in my life were designed to get me to the rest of their life, it told me that I wasn't alone. It told me that my life was scheduled for greatness, that my life was coded for success. Those are 2 points that I want you to take down right now. I want you to write that down, that your life is scheduled for greatness. Your life is coded for success. Because when you realize that your life is scheduled for greatness and coded for success, you will no longer allow people who are beneath your passion to hustle and your passion to get these things done and completed and finished and fulfilled in your life. You'll stop allowing them to detour your attention to things that are not important. You'll stop allowing them to pull you over to this side where you can't focus on what's going on in your life. And let me tell you, that focus is key. Focus is key. I'm not going to go into any more of my notes because I'm just giving you snippets. But here's the last story I want to tell you. This story is from the Holy Scriptures. It's a phenomenal story. This story talks about a group of people, and it's in Genesis. A group of people who are outside hanging, and they've been spending some time looking up in the sky. And one day they say, hey, come on, let's build a tower or a building or a structure that is tall enough to reach heaven, and let us make a name for ourselves. Oh, there's so much right in there. I'm just going to deal with a couple of them. Number one, if you complete the project, you will not be forgotten. If you complete the project of your life, you will not be forgotten. They said, let us make a name for ourselves. If we build this tower where the top of it reaches heaven, then we will make a name for ourselves and we will never be forgotten. There's so many people out there who want to make a name for themselves, but they're not willing to put the work in. Now, mind you, here's the project. They said, let us come together and do what we cannot do alone. A project is something that cannot be done alone. A structure is not something that can be built by one man. He said, let us do this. And building the project of your life is going to take people that you trust, people that come alongside you and network with you, people who you are willing to network with. Then watch this. Last part of this story. They begin to build. They began to build so well that the Bible says that one day God comes down to look at this project. Now, I am a minister, and I want to really revelate on this, but I'm trying to stay in my teacher mode. But if you go in on your project, how amazing is it that you can be so intentional about completing your project that God comes down to look at what you're doing? The Bible says that one day God comes down. This is such an incredible story. The Bible says that one day God comes down and looks at this building, and he looks at the building and he says, hey, listen, we need to do something about this because the people are one. Let me find it for you. Give me grace just to find this for you, because this is an incredible story right here. It says that such an incredible story. Okay, so watch this. It's from the Holy Scriptures, okay? It's in Genesis chapter 11. And it basically says that starting at verse 3, it says, verse 4, let's do that. Let's start from verse 4. It says, listen, it says, and they said, come, let us build us a city and a tower whose top reaches into the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over the whole earth. So they were saying, listen, let's come together. Let's do this right so that we can make a name for ourselves so that we're not scattered. And they began to build. And in verse 5, it says that the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. So he comes down. You can make a project so phenomenal and so exceptional that you cause God to come down and look at your project. Woo! You cause exceptional men and women of renown and influence come to look at what you're doing. Yes, because the inception or the word just left me. When you put a project into motion, execute is the word I was looking for. When you make a plan to execute your project, the execution of your project is going to bring about influence. The execution of your project is going to cause people to look at what you're doing. The execution of your project is going to cause people to be activated by the observation and the execution of your project. And God says this. He says this. That's all I want to share. He says this. He goes, listen, we got to do something. Because if we don't change their language, then they're always going to stay here together, and nothing will be impossible for them. So why do you need good leadership? You need good leadership to help you with the project of your life. You need exceptional leadership to help you fill in the cracks and the gaps of your life. You need people who have been there before, people who are on their way there, people who are not jealous of you or intimidated by you, people who are not ashamed to help you get to the next levels and the next realms and dimensions of your life. You need a successful project so that God can see you're serious, so that your friends and family can see that you're serious. Here's a sidebar. Here's a sidebar. I was going to wait on this, but I'll deal with it now. God confounded their language. He confused their language for a couple of reasons. Number one, he needed to separate them so that they can separate and do phenomenal things separately. He wanted to scatter them in different parts of the globe and the earth so that they can be exceptional all over the world. Number two, if you're always dealing with people who only speak your language, then you will not be as successful as you want. You need people around you who are not going to be yes men. People around you who are not always going to tell you what you want to hear. You need people around you who are going to speak life and truth to you, whether you want to hear it or not. Because various viewpoints do not violate victory. Various viewpoints absolutely confirm the agreement of your project. When you have people with various viewpoints who come in saying, listen, I do want to help and assist with you getting your project done, but I have a different viewpoint. Certain things I feel like we can do better, or I don't like this part, or I don't like that part. And that's where communication comes in, and that's where I'm going to stop tonight, because I will then go into day 2. And I don't want to do that. But tomorrow, we are going to deal with day 2. Tomorrow, we are going to deal with communication. Communication. And tomorrow, it's going to be amazing when you see what I'm planning for you tomorrow. So thank you for being a part of day 1. Day 1. What is leadership? Leadership is whenever you have a project, somebody who's going to take the lead on it. Your life is a project, and you have to take the lead on your project. You have to be the leader. You have to be the person who stimulates growth. You have to be the person who negotiates your own success, and you have to be intentional about it. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about it on 2 levels tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm telling you, it's going to be incredible. Have a great night. I have 4 minutes left. So let me let me plug the R&R conference. The R&R conference, everybody's asking me, Adam, what is the R&R conference? The R&R conference is the Reload and Reignite conference. Day one, this is 3 days, okay? And I don't want to take away from your job, and so it's a Saturday in August, a Saturday in September, and a Saturday in October. Why did I do it? Because I'm going to give you assignments from August to September and from September to October. We are going to get your life right. It's going to be a boot camp workshop like you have never experienced before. The R&R conference, August the 26th is the very first one. It's $85. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. It's $85 to register, and okay, that didn't sound right. Okay, I'm so sorry. It's $80 to register. It's $80 to register. But if you register in advance for all 3 days, you can register in advance for the Saturday in August, the Saturday in September, and the Saturday in October. You can register for all 3 nights. You ready? For all 3 days for $65. I know it sounds incredible, but you can register right now. And if you can't make it, we will be streaming live, so you can be a part of it. If you register on Facebook, but it will be part of a private group. This will not be open to the public. It will be a private group where you can come in and be a part. You can ask questions, and we will answer your questions, because we will have Q&A. It's going to be incredible. The first day, rebound and reignite. Rebound and reignite. Oh my God. The preparation for this is going to change your life. It's going to be an all-day seminar, August the 26th, the R&R conference, day 1, rebound and reignite. Go after your life. Come with me. I'm going to help you get there. All right. So the rebound and reignite is going to be day 1. My books are almost ready. My first 2 books that are going to be out by the middle of July. They're going to be available by the middle of July. I'm going to say it again. The middle of July. Those 2 books are Reignite Your Life and The Phenomenal Woman. I wrote a book. The Phenomenal Woman is a game changer. Not only will it ultimately be the book, but there will be audio along with it. Okay, so that's all I have to say. It is 9:29. I bless your evening. I bless your sleep and your rest. Would you continue to hang out with me? I'll be back on tomorrow night at 9 p.m. for day 2. Leadership, communication. Come and talk to me. Good night.